company dismissed. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
Hello and welcome back to Sky Blues History Podcast. I'm Claudio Cardlino, and alongside me, as always, is the man who brings the knowledge, the stories, and the calm authority, Jim Brown. Good evening, Jim.
Good evening, Claudio.
Now, before we get going, a quick favour. If you're enjoying the podcast, please like and subscribe, and do leave us some feedback. It really is always greatly appreciated. And on that note, I know Jim will shortly be sharing some excellent emails and messages we've had recently. The Ray Clark interview, which we did last week, clearly resonated with many of you, and we'll reflect on some of the on the response shortly. We'll also briefly chat about the last couple of matches, but tonight we're heading back into Sky Blues history. We'll be recapping the 63-64 season, 50-51 and 2015-16. Three very different eras, all with plenty to discuss. So good evening, Jim. And I see you didn't transfer me out during the window. Always good to know I'm still part of your plans.
Yes. Yeah.
Was there any bids?
Yes, it was a pretty good window, I think, for Coventry City.
I think so. And I actually think we've got one of the loans of the window with Onyeka. He's now definitely strengthened our midfield without even kicking a ball, don't you think?
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed and hope you're right. Yes, remember last week we had Ray Clark talking about, I think, one of his first scouting jobs for Coventry City when he brought George Boateng to the club, and Frank seems to be, I'm talking about Frank Onyeka now, not Frank Lampard. Frank seems to be a player out the similar mould.
Yeah.
I've seen a few clips on YouTube of him, and he looks like a pretty solid box-to-box midfielder with a bit of bite in the tackle.
Yeah, and I think what's happened is, I would say the majority of the fan base have recently said the one thing we seem to lack is more aggression in midfield, and he's certainly going to bring that, isn't he? Because that's his game.
Yes.
And you can't. I say it a lot. You win the midfield battle, the chances are you're going to win the football match.
Yes.
And I think that's where we've probably lost it in the last, especially in the last couple of weeks. We've been way open, haven't we?
Yeah, I thought it was better at QPR. I thought we were less open with Josh playing slightly deeper and playing two effectively defensive midfielders. I thought it worked quite well, but there are other mistakes that cost us the game.
And of course, we won't talk about what's going to happen ahead because we won't know. But we've got 2 home games, and our home form has been excellent. So hopefully, we'll just keep doing what we're doing at home, and maybe take the pressure away from the away games. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks, isn't it? With games that already being postponed again, and Hull City playing twice before Middlesbrough play. So it's going to be interesting. So we obviously interviewed Ray Clark last week, and it was a tremendous interview. I've had some brilliant feedback from people telling us it's one of the best ones we've done. I'm glad we got it right after 58 episodes.
Yes.
But it wasn't. You had some emails, didn't you, as well?
I had a lot of feedback from fans who'd listened to it. But the one that stands out is an email I got from Chris Russell, who I think is one of our regular readers, regular listeners. He said, I'll read out his email because it's really interesting. Dear Jim and Claudio, thanks once again for the great podcasts. I listened with interest throughout the most recent episode to Ray Clark's reflections. It was all fascinating, and then came the real moment for me near the end when Ray started talking about his life with dementia. I manage a team at the University of Worcester, the Association for Dementia Studies, which researches and offers education in dementia. And my professional and academic background is in dementia. Please, if you get the opportunity, can you thank Ray from me, both for the excellent insights into a wonderful career, but also for speaking so honestly about dementia and pointing me to the podcast episode he recorded alongside those coordinating his clinical trial. And he has sent me a link, which we can possibly put in our, can we put in our notes to the show? Have we got that ability?
Yeah, I think we can actually.
Yeah. I've watched that, and it has informed my own continuing professional development. I'm grateful for that. I will also take the key messages Ray and the two other speakers offer there into the training I regularly deliver to doctors, social workers, nurses, physios, and others about dementia. So I will ensure those messages get a powerful airing with people whose practice can have positive impact. If I could help with the Former Players Association, I would be happy to do so. Happily, the PFA, and through them the charity Dementia UK, offer much more these days. So hopefully that support is there already, but I wanted to mention it in any case. My apologies for a long email. I wanted to write to say thanks to you both and to Ray especially. Best wishes, Chris Russell.
It's tremendous. Lovely email.
Yeah. So I've put Chris in touch with Ray after sending Ray the email, and Ray was very interested in that. I haven't had time to watch that podcast about his clinical trial, but I do intend to. Yeah, and the number of City fans who said to me, "Oh, I remember him as our scout, but didn't realise he was, he'd had such a glorious career, particularly in Holland." And he did, didn't he? Played with some real world stars, Ruud Krol amongst them.
Well, I listed a name of players, a whole list of players that he's played with over his career, which it's just so unusual. I mean, nowadays it'd have been spoken about a lot and probably would have been pushed harder to be in the England squad. The fact he's playing for Ajax in Europe, and it's really strange, isn't it? I mean, Keegan went abroad; he would have been there at the same time, wouldn't he? That sort of period.
Yes.
Tony Woodcock a little later.
Yes.
They weren't obviously Greaves and in the 60s, and I'm trying to think the other guy was there a Jim Baker, who's Scottish?
Joe Baker, Dennis
Baker.
Law, Jerry Hitchens,
probably the most famous, John Charles, another one, but
of course,
but not many. So
no.
So to be in the 150 of the Hall of Fame of Ajax players.
Oh, I think it was 125, wasn't it?
Was it 125 more? Yeah. Regardless, incredible. Yeah. Incredible.
Alongside, the Cruyffs and the Naiskins and the Krols and there's so many, because Ajax were just a top side in the 70s. But I guess when Cruyff went to Barcelona, and I think Naiskins followed soon afterwards, the sort of Ajax had a bit of a downturn, but still they were a top side and still are.
They were, it's just to give the Italian clubs a lot of problems in the early 70s.
Yeah.
So where should we start then tonight, Jim? What you?
Well, the one subject that I've been banging on about in the last couple of weeks is that if you think this current situation is bad, you should just go back and look at 1963-64 season. And I know we have mentioned it in passing in previous podcasts, but I thought we could just cover it a bit more tonight and just remind fans. And it might calm the nerves a bit. You never know. We go back to that season, which was, Jimmy Hill's second full season in charge. We'd had the great cup run in 62-3. And then in 63-4, we had the amazing start where we just seemed unbeatable for long periods. We lost two or three games, I think, before Christmas, but come the 3rd of January, we had a night game with Millwall, which we won 3-0, and we went. It was the equivalent of 12 points clear. In those days, it was 2 points for a win, but if you take 3 points for a win, we're 12 points clear, which is pretty much the similar situation that we were in early December, I guess.
Yeah.
Or even mid-December. But then for whatever reason, and we can talk about some of the possible reasons, the City had a slump, and they went 11 games without a win. Admittedly, 8 of them were draws, 3 defeats. And in those days, it wasn't so bad if you drew. It's not like now where, you got 3 points for a win. You draw 8 games. You've lost 16 points, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's quite difficult to put your fingers on what the problem was. The same team basically played through most of those games, and it started at Reading, which was never a happy hunting ground for us. I don't think we won there. We won at Elm Park since 1908 or something. But we got a 2-2 draw at Reading, and then the following Saturday we faced the bottom club, Luton Town, who were on their fast track from the 1st division to the 4th division.
Right.
We'd already beaten them twice at Kenilworth Road in the league and the League Cup, and we were held to a 3-3 draw and needed a late equaliser to get the draw. Then we had a midweek defeat at Oldham, who weren't a bad side at all, and that was the first defeat we'd had in 14 games. We then had another home game with Hull, and we needed a late equaliser, late Ronnie Farmer penalty to get a draw against Hull at home. Then we travelled the following Saturday to Mansfield, who, albeit they were unbeaten at home that season for the whole season, but they beat us 3-2. So that's 2 defeats in 3 games. Another home game the following Saturday to Brentford, 2-2 draw. Just struggling to beat anybody. I think most teams came to Highfield Road and defended in depth. But, that day against Brentford, even George Curtis made a bad error. And Jimmy was in the local media trying to put on a brave face, no criticism of the players. He said that, we're still creating lots of chances, but we're not taking them as we were doing in the autumn. He thought they weren't getting the run of the ball, which is something you could say about the current situation.
Not only that, Jim, am I right in saying we went out of both cup competitions early and battered 2 or 3 teams in the first half of the season?
Yes, we did. We beat. That was the year we beat Shrewsbury 8-1. And I think one of the big reasons why there was a downturn was that George Hudson wasn't firing on all cylinders. He got 26 goals by Christmas.
Right.
He was on fire.
Some effort, that is.
Yeah. I think he had a groin strain and he had to go into hospital for a procedure which kept him out for 3 games. Jimmy tried other strikers in the number 9 shirt. Hubert Barr came in. He'd been in the cold really for most of the season. He got 3 games. Even had Bobby Gould playing in one game, a young Bobby Gould. He signed a guy called Graham Newton, who was a inside forward, but could score a few goals. He came in. He made a bit of a difference, but the goals just wouldn't come.
Sorry, Jim, can I ask a question about that season? That season, we had a lot of friendlies, didn't we, as well?
We did in the autumn. I think after Christmas.
Was that a...
Well, Jimmy Hill liked the friendlies. He liked to get the foreign teams to Highfield Road, didn't he?
Yeah, Kaiserslautern, Ferencváros,
yeah,
America FC of Brazil.
Yeah, that was after the end of the season.
Was it?
Yeah, and we also played Tottenham at the end after the end of the season.
Leicester City, was that friendly as well?
That's right. No, that was the previous season, I think.
Oh, was it?
Oh, hang on. Yes, I think that was on the day of the 4th round of the cup, because we were both out the cup early.
And I got one more written down here: British Olympic.
Yeah, we played the British Olympic 11. Yes, in a friendly.
Yeah, it's incredible when you think how condensed the season was.
I know, but actually there were a lot of the midweek games were early in the season when you had the lighter nights.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You know, come December, January, well, even November, December, January, February, there were virtually no midweek games. So it wasn't as condensed as it is now. You know, there were no international breaks, for instance, in those days.
Of course, yeah.
So the 11-game run extended. We went to Wrexham. Jimmy tried a new formation at Wrexham. He called it 1-5-4, playing with a sweeper, 5 defenders, and 4 attackers. And Derek Henderson described it as a pretty poor show. We didn't lose. We drew at Wrexham, but he wasn't impressed with that at all, and neither was Jimmy. The next story that came up was that a hypnotist from Torquay offered his services, a chap called Henry Blythe, and he said that he would only ask to be paid if Coventry went up,
right,
and he would share the fee with a charity if they went up and he helped. Jimmy dismissed this one. This was just a bit too much. But you know, the fans didn't lose faith. You know, in those days, you know, these days we've got the season tickets, and you know that the ground in the next few weeks is going to be packed, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
We're going to have 29, 30,000, maybe 31 for Middlesbrough. I don't know, but back then in '64, we didn't have that many season ticket holders, and the attendances would fluctuate quite a bit. Give you an example. You know, on January the 3rd against Millwall, we had 27,000. 2 weeks later against Luton, we had under 21,000. But as the run went on, the 11-game run, we after Wrexham, we had a 2-2 draw with Bournemouth. Bournemouth were up there. I think they were 4th at the time. Gave us a very, very tough game. But I think there were signs there that that we were beginning to get it right. The following Saturday, we went to Watford, and we took 6,000 fans to Watford. Watford were 3rd. We were still top. Watford were 3rd. And that we got a 1-1 draw. I think Ken Hale scored. They got a late equaliser, but it was a good performance. And I think the fans thought, yeah, we're getting there. And then the roof fell in the following Friday night. Dave Meeson was in goal for a home game with Southend, and we lost 5-2. We were 2-0 down. We were 3-0 down, pulled it back to 3-2, and then he scored 2 late ones to make it 5-2. The first time since the Second World War that we conceded 5 at home. And the alarm bells were starting to ring now. You know, if we can't beat Southend.
Jim, any reason for the Friday night kickoff?
It might have been, it was March the 13th. Would it have been the Grand National the following day?
Oh, is that the sort of thing that used to happen in those days?
Yeah. Because the Grand National was, everybody watched the Grand National in those days. And maybe, you know, Jimmy thought, oh, the attendance could be affected. While we're chatting, I will Google Grand National 1964 and see if that
I did notice that Bristol. I mean, second round of the FA Cup that season, Bristol Rovers at home, 26,500. That's impressive.
Yeah.
For a second round of the FA Cup against Bristol Rovers, it's hardly a main attraction, is it?
I know.
So was Jimmy under pressure then at this point from the supporters? Or was it too early? Because he'd only been there second year.
Do you know, I'm too young to remember. I think there must have been some pressure. There was certainly Jimmy admitted the players were nervous. They wanted to do the best for the fans. So I think there was some pressure. That Southend, I think there was booing that night.
That's probably one.
And somebody who was there might correct me, but might give us a better insight.
I think one Tony Cardellino was probably booing.
Yes. Yes.
I think my old man might have been joining in. He wouldn't have been quiet.
Yeah. So the following day, by the way, the Grand National that year was the following Saturday, so that wasn't the reason. I don't know what the reason for that Friday night. But the transfer deadline was getting close, and the Southend result, the following day, I think Palace and Watford both won, and they went ahead of us in the table. So we're off the top for the first time since October.
There's a ring to it, isn't there?
There is a ring to it, yes. And there were rumours of transfers. Jimmy was going to go into the transfer market. In the Telegraph, he scotched the rumours. He said, "Why should I make a signing? I've got all the players I need." Maybe that was just a bit of PR. But he did. He went into the market. He signed George Kirby, a centre forward from Southampton, who was a big, muscly centre forward. Because Hudson, going back to Hudson, he'd had his operation, but he hadn't really. The 2 games he came back in, he didn't look sharp. He hadn't scored. He scored one of the goals against Southend, but that was his first goal since before Christmas. His first goal since the 28th of December. We're now the 28th of March. It was 3 months without a goal. The club also signed a midfield player called John Smith from Tottenham. Mm-hmm. He'd been a Tottenham reserve, during the double years and a couple of years after that. He was like Danny Blanchflower's number 2. He'd only play if Blanchflower or John White was injured and couldn't play. But he was a good player, England under-23 international, very good player. So they came in. We had the Friday after, sorry, the Saturday after Southend was Easter Saturday. No, it wasn't. That was the following week. So the following Saturday, we went to Bournemouth. Again, a tough place to go. They were fourth in the table. We got a 2-2 draw. And, sorry, we didn't. We lost 2-1. And that's when Kirby and Smith made their debuts. But as a result of that, we were now 4 points behind Crystal Palace.
Wow.
So, it was beginning to slip away from us. Of course, only 2 teams got promoted then, and no playoffs. So then the following Saturday, Oldham at home. Hudson was dropped. Hudson and Kirby had played together at Bournemouth. Hudson was dropped for the Oldham game. George Kirby scores a hat-trick of headed goals.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, and we won 4-1. First win since January the 3rd, and it's now March the 28th. So it's 3.5 months, 11 games without a win. So a bit of relief there. And Kirby stayed inside till the end of the season, as did John Smith. Hudson was playing in the reserves and wasn't recalled until the final day of the season, when up he pops to score the winning goal against Colchester and clinch promotion.
So that season, though, there was a lot of draws, which in the end probably helped us get promoted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there was.
In that bad run, although we weren't winning, there was quite a lot of draws, wasn't there, as well? So they just, the 2 points a win and the 1 point for the draw, obviously you can still, like you say, you can still just keep in touch, can't you? It's not as bad. If that was 3 points for a win, we'd have been stuffed, wouldn't we, really?
Yeah. Well, after the Oldham game, we drew home and away with Port Vale over Easter. 2 draws, 29,000 for the Port Vale home game.
Wow.
On Easter Tuesday. I think it was almost the biggest crowd of the season before the final game, and then we won at Bristol Rovers. That was the first away win for 4 months.
Oh, got 2 months to go yet.
Then we beat QPR 4-2 at home, and we're back in the pack. Then we drew 0-0 at Millwall, and had that tremendous night at that defeat at Peterborough, when we had 12,000 fans there, and suddenly it looked like, God, we're going to blow it. We are going to blow it. And we had to rely on Crystal Palace and Watford slipping up on the final day to clinch the championship. It looked very much like we were going to blow it after Peterborough. Because Crystal Palace had 2 games. We had 1 game left. Palace had 2 games left, and we're only a point behind us. So it was.
So could we have dropped out the top 2 as well with those last 2 games?
Yeah, we could.
Wow, we
could. And of course, Palace blew up on the final day 3 years later. No, they didn't. They didn't blow up. They helped us, didn't they? They beat Wolves on the final day to make sure we clinched the second division title. So that was a fascinating, topsy-turvy roller coaster ride to the third division title.
So what you're saying, Jim? Don't panic.
Don't panic. Yeah, Mr. Mannering. Mind you, to take another line out of Dad's Army, I know my friend Rod Dean would be saying now, "We're doomed, mate. We're doomed."
I think what it is, we just feel helpless, don't we? Because we can't do anything.
Exactly.
Things happen before your eyes, and you just can't do anything apart from support your team, can you? But
exactly.
It's so tough. But throughout history, there's been stuff like this with all kinds of clubs have had similar scenarios where they've had good leads and it's just fell away and it's become tight. It's now a proper race, isn't it, in the Championship? Basically, it's a proper league now.
Yeah,
It was
it is.
It's a bit ridiculous that we were so far ahead after only 3 or 4 months. It doesn't happen normally so early in the season.
Well, and I mentioned to you the other day about the Leicester City scenario 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Which, if you remember, we beat them at the CBS in January, or was it early February? But going into that game, they had a 11-point lead at the top of the Championship over Ipswich, and they won one game in 6 after that, and they lost the lead. They went down to 3rd because Ipswich and Leeds both put a spurt on, and suddenly Leicester were out of the picture in looking at the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they got their act together, and their strength was they didn't draw games. They only drew 4 games all season. When they were drawing a game, they went for the win, and they ended up with 31 wins, 97 points, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So Leicester fans thought they'd blown it 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, we need some wins then, don't we?
We do. We do. Is it too depressing to talk about 1950-51 as well?
As long as you do it with a smile on your face, Jim, try that.
Yeah, I know. I did get a lovely email from. Let me just get the email up.
This is from Jeff Cowley, is that right? The email?
That's the one, yeah. Jeff Cowley. Yeah.
So I presume manager Harry Storer at the time. Be about right, wouldn't it? Harry Storer?
Harry Storer, yeah. And we'd had a good end to the 49-50 season, and we started the 50-51 season really well. Had a good autumn, and as we went into Christmas, we were top on the 30th of December after a good Christmas, and let me just get this email up. Yeah, and we'd signed a chap called Terry Springthorpe, who was a defender, fullback from Wolves, for quite a big fee, not quite a record fee, but a big fee for a fullback. We'd had a very settled side that season, especially the forward line. The virtual ever-presence. The forward line was Plum Warner, number 7, a Welshman, Bryn Allen, number 8, Ted Roberts at centre forward, Ken Chisholm inside left, and Norman Lockhart on the outside left. And between those 5 players, they'd only missed 3 matches.
Wow.
So a very settled team. But then for whatever reason, Harry Storer discovered that a centre forward called Tommy Briggs from Grimsby, who'd been the league's overall top scorer the previous season with something like 37 goals,
right,
had asked for a transfer from Grimsby. He was unhappy, and he became available for transfer. And I think Harry had great contacts. He found out before in those days, clubs would circulate clubs by post that a player was available for transfer. Harry found out before the letters went out, shot up to Grimsby, and within a couple of hours had got Briggs' signature. We paid 20,000 for him. It was a club record fee, massive fee for those days. I think the British record was only something like 25,000. so it was a massive fee. Briggs had a great scoring record. I think he's scored something like 70 odd goals in 2.5 seasons for Grimsby.
There's a
Came to
book.
Coventry. He made his debut the following day in a 5-2 win over Bury that put us top of the table, level with Preston North End, but ahead of them on goal average. Do you know who's playing for Preston then?
Oh, Tom Finney.
Yeah, Tom Finney in the second division. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So Jeff Cowley. What am I doing? Anyway, I'll carry on the story. Read Jeff's email later.
What you're going to say is he's a stinker of a signing, wasn't he? Basically.
Well, Ted Roberts was a big fan's favourite. And the stories I've heard are that Briggs's signing upset the dressing room.
Right.
Ted was a very popular guy. But Ted was 34. He'd made his debut in the early 30s. He'd been almost 20 years in the game. I think Harry was thinking, if we want to get into the first division this season, I need a better striker than Ted. Ted had got 15 goals before Christmas, mind you, but we were scoring a lot of goals. Well, Briggs, he scored on his debut, but something went wrong. Something went drastically wrong because he only played 4 games.
Did he get injured then?
No, he didn't. He didn't get injured. Sorry, he didn't. He played 6 games. And the last 2 of them, we lost and didn't score. Ted Roberts brought back, Briggs out of the picture. But we had 1 win in 6 after going top.
Right.
We slipped. It was so close to the top, we slipped to 6th place. We went 9 away games from the end of October to March. 9 away games. We won 1 point. That was our Achilles heel. We finished 7th eventually, and Preston and Man City were promoted. Very disappointing because at Christmas we thought we really had a good chance. This was the season.
And that would have been the last time Preston got promoted to the top flight.
Yeah, good one. Good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they got relegated around about 61, didn't they? Around about then, didn't they?
Yeah, not long after Tom Finney retired. So I'll read you Jeff's email now. He actually wrote to Andy Turner, who passed it on to me. Hi Andy, I wondered if you would consider writing an article on the Sky Blues for the Coventry Telegraph, comparing what happened exactly 75 years ago to the present day. If you look at the archives, you will see that at Christmas 1950, City were on top of the old Division 2. They signed 2 players, Tommy Briggs and Terry Springthorpe, to, quote, make sure of promotion, but who fortunately didn't fit in. That started a slide down the league table. We finished 7th, and 16 months later, we were relegated to Division 3 South. The question to be asked, if you dare ask it, is history repeating itself? I certainly hope not, but such an article might generate a bit of interest / controversy. Sincerely, Jeff Cowley, a supporter since 1957. So, Is it history repeating herself this season?
Oh, I think we're in a better shape than in 1950-51. I'd like to think we are.
Wow.
But you don't know, do you? We can't say until the end of April, I suppose.
Yeah, and of course, in those days, clubs didn't go out and splurge in January.
No.
First of all, they had the transfer deadline was in March,
Yeah.
and secondly, teams used to stick with the same teams used to stick with the same players because you didn't have this helter-skelter rush for the playoffs that you've got now.
No.
You know, if you look at our league, our division now, anybody from down to 16th could have a run at the playoffs, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Whereas in those days, only the top two went up, and it was quite unusual for a side to go from mid-table to win a promotion place, because there's only the 2 points for a win as well.
It's strange, isn't it, that there was a time when the last month of the season was a total waste of time for most of the clubs in the division.
Yeah, it was.
You kind of forget about that now, don't you?
You do. Yeah. It happened, you know, in many a season in the first division, we were comfortable in mid-table for many a season. There were some occasions when we did, but only nearly the big slumps where we were mid-table in, say, February and ended up being in a relegation dogfight, happened after 3 points came in, I think.
Yeah, because I think in the days like the 70s and 60s, 70s, when European football, top six was max, wasn't it? That you get into Europe.
Yeah.
That's what you aim for. But I would say with a month to go, if you weren't 10th, then you got no hope of getting into Europe because 2 points for a win in those days. In fact, you might have no chance anyway.
Yeah, you had to put a really good run together.
Yeah, it was difficult
to get into the top six. Yeah,
as we proved in '78 how difficult it was.
Yeah.
In what we consider was a fantastic season, we still didn't make it.
Yes.
You know, so.
But I wonder, just taking Jeff's point and looking back at that season, it was the away form that cost us. You know, the home form continued pretty well. We did lose after Christmas. We lost to Man City at home, but of course they were promoted. And then we lost the final league game of the season, home game of the season. So only two home defeats after Christmas. So it was the away form that snookered us.
So I presume was Revie playing for Man City then as well?
No,
had he gone?
He would. I've got a feeling he was at Hull in those days.
Oh right.
Or Leicester, because he was at Leicester to begin with. Played in the '49 Cup final for Leicester.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't go to Man City till later. Yeah. So the other thing so thank you, Jeff, for your great email. And I did go back to him and say, we're going to do it on the podcast. And he didn't know what a podcast was, or he didn't know how to find the podcast. So we'll hopefully have another listener there, Claudio.
Yeah. He's got a lot of catching up to do.
59 episodes, yeah. So just briefly as well, for some of the younger listeners, people have been saying to me, oh, this is just like 2015-16, the Mowbray year when we blew promotion. So should we have 5 minutes just to talk about that a bit?
Yeah. You know what? That's only 10 years ago. Why does it feel longer? It feels like a different era altogether.
Well, it was a different era.
Yeah, it is.
We were playing, we were playing in League One.
Yeah.
We had ownership issues. We'd just come back from Northampton. The crowds were small. But that autumn, 2015, that got us going again, didn't it?
Yeah.
It did get us going. I think Tony Mowbray was a great manager at that time. He got, well, between him and Waggy, Steve Waggett, they got some excellent loan signings.
Yeah.
Adam Armstrong, Jacob Murphy, Ryan Kent were the three loanees. When they, we had another loanee, didn't we? At the back was Vancelot a loanee?
Oh, good question. It may have been.
But he was a virtually ever present that season, wasn't he?
I think was John Fleck our actual player? Because he'd have been there, wouldn't it?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
So is this the season that I was referred to? Barnsley got promoted via the playoffs.
No. Oh, they might have done.
Because I can remember at Christmas when I said to Luca, the classic line, if we don't make the playoffs this season, surely we have to make it this season. We're so far ahead of, I think it was Millwall, who would have been 7th or 8th or something. And we look comfortably we're going to be in the playoffs. I just couldn't see us dropping enough points.
No, but it just shows you if you have a bad run of form. I remember that game against Gillingham when we were 4-1 up or 4-0 up at half time, and Jacob Murphy got one of the fastest hat tricks of all time. We then had a bit of a downturn. We went top that day, and then we only won 1 in 6 after that. And then we came back and we won 5-0 at Crewe. We were 4th in the table on New Year's. That was New Year's Day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think we were 4 points off the top. Do you remember who was top? I'll tell you. It was Burton Albion were top.
Right.
And here's an interesting. It's a bit of a tangent here, but the side that was promoted with Burton that year have won the League One title 4 times this century.
Right.
Do you know who it is?
And they've won the FA Cup?
Yes.
Wigan Athletic.
Very good. Good answer. 4 times they've won League One.
Yeah. This is when they started getting a bit of cash then, didn't they?
Yeah, well, Dave Whelan was involved with them, wasn't he?
I think, from memory, when we were in the top 6, Barnsley were in the bottom 3. And they went on a daft run of 20-odd games unbeaten, and they shot up the table and got into the playoffs, Jim. I'm sure that's what happened.
Yeah, they were bottom. I've just looked it up. They were bottom at the end of November.
Yeah, and they had a 28 match unbeaten. It's something mad it was, a crazy run. They did a Nottingham Forest when they got promoted to the Premier League.
Yeah, they lost once in December to Wigan. They lost in February to Gillingham. They lost to Southend in March, and they lost to Chesterfield in April. But everything else they virtually won.
Yeah,
they went into the playoffs in 6th place, and they beat Walsall over 2 legs, and then beat Millwall at Wembley.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
And you know who their manager was? Well, they're joint caretaker managers, believe it or not.
Oh, no, I can't remember.
One of them's in the Championship now.
Not Higginbottom, is it, or something like that?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, Higginbottom.
Higginbottom.
Yeah.
He's a good manager. He's a good manager at this sort of level of football.
And they also won the EFL trophy.
Wow, that's incredible.
In Oxford at Wembley.
I'm sure though the Ryan Kent going back, there was a bit of disruption, wasn't it? I think that was the start of where things weren't promised, and I wouldn't say the players down tools, but they definitely weren't anywhere near what they were in the first half of the
No.
season. That second half of the season was that when Joe Cole turned up, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we had Armstrong, Murphy, Cole, Madison, Fleck, Kent,
It's interesting.
Vancelot wasn't a bad player at all. Yeah, we just fell apart. 2 wins in 16 games after Crewe. And one of those was a 6-0 win over Bury.
I think we should invite Tony Mowbray on this podcast.
Yeah.
And get his views on that.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
Good one.
Be interesting, because what did happen? I mean, people talk about Sisu being absolutely horrible and awful, but they must have allowed us to, there's some good players we got there.
Yeah, but what Armstrong lost form, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think he ran out of puff, didn't he? Kent left, went back to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Madison was sold at the end of January, but came back on loan.
Yeah.
But to me, he wasn't the same player when he came on loan. Murphy got 1 goal after Christmas.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened to Joe Cole. He played, but I don't think he did a lot.
I'm trying to get it's funny, I've more trouble remembering more recent seasons. So this is the season we won our first 2 matches, then lost at Walsall. Is that right? I think Walsall then went top.
Did they?
Yeah, I'm sure we won our first 2 or 3 games. Then we went to Walsall. We lost 2-1. I think Murphy scored a cracking free kick.
We won 4-0 at Millwall. Remember that?
Because we had a huge following that day at Walsall.
Yeah, we lost at Walsall. We won our first 3 games.
Yeah.
And then lost at Walsall. But, we were in the top 4 right through till mid-January.
Because that's the game where Madison did his ankle in at Walsall away. After about 2 or 3 minutes went off, we didn't see him again until he come on. And did he score against Reading? The free kick, he came on and took a free kick and scored.
Port Vale, wasn't it?
Port Vale, was it? Christmas time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, we were still 7th. We were still 7th mid-March.
Yeah.
And then went another 6 games without winning, and ended. We were 13th at one stage after being top in November. It's only because we won 4 out of the last 5 that we've managed to finish 8th. But look at some of the players we signed. Peter Ramage, 4 appearances. Stephen Hunt, 5 appearances.
I see him most weeks.
Andy Rose, 12 appearances.
Rushworth's agent, isn't he, Stephen Hunt?
Yeah. Bailey Cargill, 5 appearances.
Yeah.
Bailey Cargill. Martin Lawrenson from Sweden, 7 appearances. And then the best of the lot, Darius Henderson, 5 sub-appearances.
So basically, shambles of a window then.
3 of those players, Henderson, Ramage and Hunt, didn't appear in the Football League again after the end of that season.
Yeah.
They were has-beens, weren't they?
I'm not going to say that to him, to his face. It's yeah. So, well, there you go. A bad transfer window. Basically, lost an influential midfielder, Ryan Kent, and then brought in a load of nonsense.
Yeah, you just want. We'd love to know a bit more about that period, wouldn't we?
Well, maybe it's Tim Fisher we should get on here,
or Steve Waggett.
Or Steve Waggett. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Leave that with me. I'm just aware of the time, but I think we'll save the Kevin Shannon one till our next show, because it's a super email he wrote.
Yeah.
And now that we've signed Fred, I wondered if you...
Frank, you mean?
Frank, yeah, Frank the Tank, yes.
Yeah.
He's the 6th Nigerian-born player to sign for us.
Right.
Can you name the other 5?
Well, Yakubu is obviously one.
Yes.
Less said about him, the better. Is he still on the halfway line, by the way?
Yes.
Enabakari was another one more recently.
Enabakari, yes. What a player.
Yeah. Well, yeah, attitude though, wasn't it, with him?
Wow, yeah.
You know,
he was a genius, wasn't he? But a very
frustrating, because he was
flawed genius.
Wasted talent, really, in the end. Definitely discipline problems with him. I would say Dele Adebola. Would he class as, was he British or Nigerian or
born in Nigeria? Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else struggling now that come to mind.
Well, the one who you think is probably English but was born in Nigeria is John Salako.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I thought just London boy. Yeah. And who else?
Well, you won't even remember this guy. His name is Latif Elford Aliyu.
Okay. And when did he appear on the scene?
He was in that fateful 2016-17 season.
Oh, right.
He wasn't a kid. He wasn't a kid. He was born in 1992, so that would make him 23 when he was at Coventry. He started his career at West Brom. He was on West Brom's books in 2009-10. So he'd have been 18 then, 17. He went on loan to Hereford, played 1 game for Hereford that season, then ended up on loan in Iceland with Keflavik. Another loan the following season to Tranmere. He was on loan 2 seasons at Tranmere, making about 21 appearances, scoring 5 goals in League One. Also in 11-12, it was at Bury on loan, played 13 games, 2 goals. Following season back at Bury, another 6 games, but they were relegated. And in the transfer window in 2013, went to Crawley Town, where he made 7 sub-appearances. Then he ended up at Tamworth. Must have been... he left West Brom to go to Bury, and then joined Crawley Town. They must have released him after a short-term contract. He went to Tamworth, and then next in his career was Valletta in Malta.
Blimey.
I've got nothing for him between then and 2015 when he joined Coventry City. He wasn't alone. He played as a substitute in October at Yeovil in the EFL Trophy, a 0-0 draw. He came on 5 minutes from the end for Jim O'Brien. There's another name from the past.
Yeah. And I don't remember him whatsoever.
Okay, there's more. There's more. He made another sub-appearance in that fateful League Cup, FA Cup game against Northampton when they beat us at the CBS 2-1. He came on 71 minutes, so he played 19 minutes. in that game.
Oh.
He came on for Marc-Antoine Fortuné. Yeah, those were his. So he's played 24 minutes of football for Coventry City.
What year was the Northampton game?
15-16.
Blimey. Yes. Yeah. No recollection whatsoever.
No.
No. Weird.
No. Well, the other player you might not have heard of who came on as a sub against Northampton was Basala Sambu.
No. No notice whatsoever of that one.
He went to Everton.
Really?
That was his one and only appearance for us. And he went to Everton the following summer. And he was at Everton. I think they gave him a 3 or 4 year contract. They obviously saw something in him, but he never played for the first team. I think he played for their under-21s against various teams. Then ended up at Fortuna Sittard in Holland. And then in the last, 3 or 4 years ago, he was at Crewe for a couple of seasons. So, yeah. All these tangents we go off on.
I know. So, of course, we've got a big game ahead at the weekend. Oxford United, who are currently struggling in the league, against a side who we support, who was magnificent at home this season, aren't they, Jim? Any records you reckon we can break this season with a home at all? I mean, the attendances can't really move now, can they? That they are.
No.
We did look at one point that we're going to break all kinds of records, points, goals, and all sorts.
Yes.
That's sort of plateaued, I think is the word at the minute. So
well, we look at the goals we've scored. 60, up to 63 now, aren't we?
Yeah.
We could still possibly, get into the 80s. Is that possible? 16 games left. We could easily get into the 80s, and that would be a club record for this, second division, I suspect.
In all honesty, we have to get into the 80s to get promoted. If we've got any 16 matches left.
Yes. Just looking in 1967, when we won the second division, we got 74 goals from 42. That was from 42 games.
Yeah.
That's probably our best goal haul of goals at this level, I think. Yeah. Yeah. And the other, we might break the attendance record. You never know. If they could squeeze a few more bodies in, we might break the ground record.
And was there something you mentioned about the record that Sunderland might break?
Yeah, that cropped up in the Times today. Bill Edgar, the Times football statistician, he's always posting interesting stats, and he said that Sunderland now are in a position to gain more home wins than they score away goals. Have they had 10 home wins but only scored 9 away goals, something like that? And the last team to do that was Coventry City in 1999-2000, which was the Robbie Keane, the entertainers season, wasn't it? When we had that dreadful away record. So we won more. Let's just check that. We won 12 home games and we scored 9 away goals.
That's a shocking statistic when you got Robbie Keane up front.
It isn't it? I do remind people who go on about Robbie Keane. I know he was deadly at home, but 9 away goals.
I can't fathom how that was possible with some of the players we had. It just.
I know.
Well, we need to get Gordon Strachan on here then, as well. Yeah. Explain yourself.
Well, because we didn't win an away game, did we?
Oh, true, but 9 goals.
We only got seven draws.
That's pitiful, wasn't it?
Yes. So who scored those 9 goals? That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, McAllister must have got a penalty somewhere.
Yes. Well, I know who scored the first. The first was a 1-1 draw at Wimbledon. McAllister penalty.
There you go.
I suspect the second was Robbie Keane at Sunderland. Let me just...
I just can't believe 9 goals.
Yeah, Robbie Keane at Sunderland. Then we scored 2 at Tottenham. Robbie Keane and Youssef Chipo in a 3-2 defeat. So that's what's that, 4?
So
We got then we got a 1-1 draw at Everton. McAllister, not a penalty. That's 5.
Could this possibly be the worst season ever for the amount of games with no goals scored? Basically, I think I've said that right.
It might be. Then we had a 0-0 draw at Sheffield Wednesday, a 1-1 draw at Bradford. That was McAllister again, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's now got 3. Then 0-0 at Southampton, 0-2 at Liverpool, 0-0 at Derby, 2-3 at Man United, Roussel 2.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was the famous... oh, no, wrong season. I'm thinking that was Aftershock. No, it wasn't that season. Oh, dear. Sam, is that 7 we've got?
Yeah. So
0-2 at Middlesbrough, 0-3 at Leeds, 0-1 at Villa, 0-3 at Arsenal, 1-2 at Chelsea. McAllister.
Yeah.
So he's got 4.
Is that when LeBoeuf scored right at the end of the game?
No.
I can't think of the game I went to where we lost there, and I think LeBoeuf.
Yeah,
scored.
that was 97-8, I think.
Was it? Yeah.
This was we went ahead. We led for 35 minutes. Then Colin Hendry own goal.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, Gianfranco Zola. So that's I think that's it. That's the 9, isn't it? We're up to 9. 0-5 at West Ham, 0-2 at Newcastle, 0-1 at Watford.
Yeah.
What? I think on that note, we'll call it a day, shall we?
Quite a depressing episode.
It is.
It's a good job we're top of the league.
Isn't it? Yes.
Well, if you enjoyed this episode, to just bring us all down a peg or 2, please like and subscribe, and send your emails to jim@claryborton@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. So far, I've had some great feedback. It's really nice. And it's taken us both by surprise, hasn't it, Jim, actually?
It has, yeah. It has. I think there's going to be some ramifications from Ray Clark's wonderful admission about Alzheimer's and dementia. I think we're going to take things further on that score.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So I bid you farewell, and I'll catch you at the weekend, hopefully.
Yes. Good night, Claudio. Thank you very much.
Good night, all.
Company business. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Lovely.